Math 76, lesson 98. We're talking about fraction decimal percent equivalence. So this is one of the culminating exercises of this math class for this year. This is one of the big tests to make sure that you're understanding this school year. And again, one of the major things to understand this school year is the many different ways to write the exact same number. And that is as a fraction, a decimal, and a percent. So on homework, you're going to see boxes like this, right? So this would be like problem number 1, problem number 2, problem number 3, right? And what we're saying here in problem number 1 is we're seeing how to write the number 1/2 as a decimal and as a percent. So all three of these numbers, they're going to be the same number, the same idea, but they'll be written in different forms. And that's the thing that we need to understand with this table. So we have to know how to take a fraction, turn it into a decimal and a percent, or take the decimal, turn that into a fraction and a percent, or take the percent and turn that into a decimal and as a fraction, right? So this is a really good test of all of those skills we've been learning. And without further ado, let's go on to our example, all right? So our example, we've got the three different problems. We've got 9/10, 1.5, and 4%. And I've color-coded them. The fraction will be in green, the decimal will be in blue, and the percent will be in purple. And we're just going to start it and do one row at a time. So let's start with the fraction 9/10, and I'm going to turn that into a decimal. If you remember, we can turn a fraction into a decimal through division, because fractions perform the same operation as division. So I will go over here, and I'm going to write 9/10 as a division problem, which means I have 9 divided by 10. All right, I'm going to put some decimals there in case I need them. 10 will not go into 9, so that becomes a 0. Put my decimal point. But 10 will go into 90 exactly 9 times. Cool, didn't need that extra 0. So I'll go ahead and erase that. 9 times 10 is 90 minus 0, and the answer is 0.9. Great, I've already found the first decimal. Now, if you remember our lesson on decimals to percents, the next step is very, very simple. I'm going to take my decimal number, 0.9, and I'm going to multiply it by 100%, or move that 1 2 places, which gives me 90%. So I have completed the first chart. Now, let's go to the middle. We start off with the decimal, and we have to find the decimal, or we have to find the fraction of the percent. Well, we already know finding the percent is pretty simple, so I'll go ahead and do that. I'll take the number 1.5, move it 1 2 spaces, and I've got 150%. So that is done. Now, how do I turn 1.5 into a fraction? If you remember, we take our decimal number, 1.5, we take this number and we write it over the place value. So the last place value in this decimal number is the tenths place, right? Not tens, tenths, right? So I'm going to write 5/10 as a fraction. So that will be 5/10, or 1 and 5/10. So there we go, there's my fraction, 1 and 5/10. There we go. Oh wait, no. Should I write it as 1 and 5/10? I didn't reduce. This is the other thing you need to watch out for. You need to reduce. 5/10 can reduce and be 1/2. So instead of writing 1 and 5/10, I should have written 1 and 1/2. That's the correct answer. All right, last one. How do I turn a percent into a decimal and fraction? Well, let's take this percent and we'll go to decimal first. So if we can turn a decimal into a percent by moving the decimal to the right 2 places, I can turn a percent into a decimal by dividing by 100, or moving the decimal to the left 2 places. So I find the decimal, it's hiding right there. I go 1, 2, and now my number is 0.04. So as a decimal, I have 0.04. That wasn't too bad. And then for the fraction, the same rule as before. I'm going to take the decimal number, 0.04. I find the last place value. This is hundredths, right? So that's now my denominator. And then I take the number, which is just 0.4, or just the number 4, and now I try to reduce if possible. And since I remember quarters, I know that 4 can go into 104 times. So that's going to reduce to 1/25. And there we go. We've completed the chart. That's how you solve these problems. You're going to see one on every single lesson until the end of the school year. So if you're having trouble with this, let me know as soon as possible on the school website or in class, and I will see you later.